Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SWBL podcast here in, December, Brian?
Yep,
Yes.
16.
My name is Sam Swbl, Commissioner of the SWBL. Alongside me is Brian Benware. And Benware, we are here at 1356 Public House, our brand new presenting sponsor for Season 20. Can't believe Season 20 is already here. But talk to us about it. We have a great waiter. Grant is over here. Grant,
hey, Grant.
Pick up the chairs.
What's up,
pick
dude?
Up the chairs, all right? We're so excited to be here at 1356. You're going to hear background noise. You're going to hear it all. We have a microphone that'll pick us up just fine. We're here in the private event space, and this is where the Friday night festivities will be held on Memorial Day Friday night. But we have this deal worked out with 1356 where we're going to have some podcasts recorded here. We are going to have some winter meeting will be hosted here on January 2nd. Along with the captain's meeting in May. And Brian, it is awesome to be here with you for our first podcast of the many that we will have here at 1356. Yep. You live close to here now, correct?
I do. So we moved a year ago to Fenton. So this is literally like 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. I've been coming here basically since I moved in, since Jackson introduced me to it. And it's awesome. The drink specials are awesome. And the menu is enormous.
It is.
That's one side. That's the other side.
It's going to be great for the Friday night festivities. We haven't had a Friday night for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
It's been missing from the Friday night for opening day, and we're really excited to bring that back. We're going to do a video podcast along with this just to give 1356 a little more publicity as well. There's people on the other side of us, on the other side of that wall. One guy just gave me a high five almost over there. And we are so excited to get everybody here. We will have the outdoor and the indoor space available on that Friday, and we even have Jeremy Warrell's dad next to us.
Let's
Todd
go.
Warrell. Yeah, so this is a great place to host
play.
these podcasts right here. And Jeremy Warrell's dad, signed poster from Todd Warrell, ex-relief pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals. And we have a lot to celebrate, obviously. It's holidays coming up. School's almost out for me next week.
Let's go.
Wednesday will be the last week. And the Chiefs game is on. Chiefs are currently winning, correct?
No, they are losing 14-10. It's halftime. So if you see me look up every now and then, that's just what's going on. But I'm here. I'm here for it.
It is Thursday
We're gonna
night.
have fun.
Hey, cheers, Brian.
Cheers.
And welcome again, everybody out there, to our first podcast of many here at 1356 Public House. And thank you again for hosting us and being our presenting sponsor for Season 20. One of the big announcements we wanted to make today, Brian, is I am actually going to be handing the reins to our podcast over to Brian. Delegation has been quite difficult for me in the past, but I think that you approached me with this idea of doing more podcasts throughout the year, and just with me having 3 kids at home right now, you have 2 on your own, but just getting the season ready, and especially this Season 20 anniversary season, a lot to get ready. And it's going to be nice to kind of take these podcasts off my plate. It's always in the back of my mind to do one, to get somebody involved, but I think having somebody else in charge will do really good for our podcasts. And hopefully we can, contend for maybe podcast of the year and the Whippies in the future.
Let's see. As long as I don't screw it up, maybe we'll get a spot.
But Brian, talk to us about, kind of like your rundown, your ideas for taking this podcast to the next level.
Yeah, so a lot of anticipation, and obviously it builds as we get closer and closer to season, but there's a lot that goes on in our world, especially considering wiffle ball throughout the year. NWLA happens. We've got Summer League that is rocking nowadays, and you've got the free agent, the offseason. So I just thought, set a goal, and I had talked about maybe one every other week, even like 26 a year. If we can, we already do a lot of podcasts as it is. It's just not as organized, and so I thought maybe if we get somebody kind of shepherding that. We'll talk about, obviously, do the team previews, the captain interviews, a season preview, a season review. I'd like to do a champions podcast, so whomever wins that year, do a podcast post season and talk to them about their luck or their run or how great they were or whatever the case may be.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be here at 1356. It can be on Zoom still, like we've done in a few past couple podcasts. It could be over the phone. It could be just anything to get people together. And if you are interested, obviously reach out to Brian with an idea. If you have any ideas for a podcast idea, or you just want to get on and let your voice be heard, I'm sure Brian will be available. But
absolutely, I've got a whole line for miscellaneous guests.
Love it.
So to get all 26 in, that's the goal for this year, and I thought what better year to do it than season 20. So
it's gonna be amazing. What are you most excited for, Brian, leading up to season 20 coming up here?
Boy, the easy answers to see the guys and all the stuff, but there's a lot going on in the rumor mill about some of the things that may be new for the season. I'm pretty excited to see kind of what you in the front office are kind of stewing up there, cooking up. But really, like, the competition, it seemed like last year, like we say every year, the competition gets better and better and better. And while we had 2 teams leave that were, for the most part, perennial playoff teams, we have 2 new captains. I'm excited to see kind of what happens with that, being a person who had to do that and go through that. And now we've got 2 new guys doing that again that have been around the league, obviously, but see what the new franchises bring. And
both named John. John Light, John Callaway, the new captains for the SWBL White Sox from John Callaway and the SWBL Orioles, from John Light. And both guys have been around for a long time, like you said, and they kind of have almost an advantage rather than you. And as somebody previously who is starting, you had to start kind of from scratch. You kind of had to build players from within. These guys have so many free agents, and I know that's going to be a big topic of conversation today.
Yeah, for sure. We are going to talk about free agents, both unrestricted and restricted as it stands today on December 16th. Maybe a little bit of rumors, maybe a little bit of just guessing on maybe what teams they may land with.
And obviously
see how
people
things
might
will shake
know.
out. A little bit, but we'll try to stay clear of some of the obvious ones.
Sure.
We'll try to stick with more of maybe the unknown, or maybe a team that might not even be thinking about it but could potentially use a player that's out there right now. So
definitely, there's a lot of teams out there, I think, that are really focused on maybe 1 or 2 of these free agents that are available. But I'm really excited to see if people branch out, find a hole in their lineup, and see what they can use to fill it. Because there's a lot of free agents out there that people get overlooked at first, but then later on in free agency, they're going to start getting some phone calls.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Corey McCarthy. They kind of always knew he might go to the Twins, but there were years where he was talking about it, didn't do it. Somebody had even mentioned his name to me. Didn't know him, lost out, made a stupid mistake on that one. But he's somebody who was kind of under the radar, and look at him now. He's an MVP.
And winning the MVP last year for him was, I think, really special and really exciting, because it's been somebody that was relatively new to the league, and seeing somebody who can come in and dominate like that. And yes, it was a low offensive year across the board, but he definitely had those dominant games.
Speak for yourself.
Well, low year for many people. So, all right, Brian, what do we got cooking? What's going on for this podcast here at 1356? Our first one here at 1356 Public House, down on, right on Doherty.
It's basically Big Ben and 141.
Big Ben 141. Yeah. Doherty Ferry, I apologize. Doherty Ferry, we can get there from. I just drove there from Doherty Ferry. Big Ben 141. And it is so exciting. They have plenty of specials. Like Brian said, a ton of different menu items. I had takeout the other day. We had the pepper jack cheese bites. They were amazing. And what'd you order today, Brian?
I got
the wings.
The wings, yep. I got boneless wings, but I've had... Their burgers are amazing. Their sandwiches are amazing. I have not been disappointed with any appetizers. And it just goes on and on. I haven't eaten here enough to even cover the entire menu.
Well, maybe we'll get to that the rest of this year. I got the Cajun turkey melt, very excited about it. When I say Cajun, I got to go towards that. Was going to get a burger like you recommended, but Cajun turkey melt it is. But so excited to try the rest of this menu items. 1356 Public House, 141 in Big Ben. Come on down and see the owner, see the manager, and thank them for being a presenting sponsor for SWBL Season 20. Let's get to it.
Boom. All right. So, like I said, we're going to talk about free agents, because that is the thing on the horizon with the new year approaching. We're almost 2 weeks away from basically the start of season 20 officially.
That's crazy.
Which is insane. Yeah. And so we're going to kind of talk about some of the guys who are unrestricted right now, and then we're also going to talk about those restricted free agents who have yet to re-sign with their teams.
Yeah. Only 15 days to do it?
Yeah, 15 days to do it. You've got some people who are dragging their feet, but then you've got other guys who maybe be looking at testing the free agent. We've had more guys decide to go into free agency this year than any other year. So with the new teams, the new captains, there's a lot of shakeup going on.
A lot of interest, for sure.
And so we're going to kind of do first start with the restricted free agents and just kind of talk about not every single one, but maybe what impact it would be whether they were to sign or maybe go somewhere else.
Yeah, okay.
So not necessarily what team they might go to, but really just what impact that might have if they don't stay with the team they were on last year.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of chatter throughout, but this year more than any, leading into the historic season 20, just that itself would be enough chatter. Going into historic season, but to have all of this change up, it's going to be a new landscape for this league.
For sure.
It's going to be completely different. So we're really excited. Let's dive right into it. Restricted free agency will end on January 1st when unrestricted will take over, and anybody who is a past player that did not play last year in season 19 or is a rookie to this year, registration will be open to you on January 1st with the reveal of our new season 20 anniversary logo.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, well, let's start with the easy ones.
Okay, easy ones.
Easy ones. The Rockies. Brian Kenny, Grant Boyd, and Chad Young are all still unsigned.
Yep.
If history is any kind of marker, they're probably going to re-sign.
They'll re-sign in one contract.
Especially BK, since he's kind of co-captain. Or what does he go by? Lineup manager, lineup specialist?
Yeah, he's
something
a
like that.
Definitely is the quote-unquote manager of the team. Blake's just the face of the team, as you could say.
So what do you think? You think they're all going to probably re-sign? Do you think Chad Young pitched a lot of innings for them last year.
He did.
I feel like he's more of an unknown, but then again with Breida,
yeah.
thank you, Kyle,
that's the big news, right?
And retiring this year, or at least taking a step back for a year.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can afford to not re-sign Grant.
He'll be back. Chad, Grant, BK, they'll be back. I mean, you got to believe, unless somebody makes some crazy push to grab Chad. Chad had some great pitching performances down the stretch, but I don't think they can afford to lose him with, obviously, Breida retiring.
Right.
Grant's probably going to step up and start to take a little bit more of a pitching role. He used to be a great pitcher in this league. 1 year going 5-1.
Wow.
He had a record of 5-1 at one point for the Rockies. And he took a back seat when Breida started coming in and Blake started taking more role. But now with Chad as their quote-unquote ace, they got to sign him back. And obviously being Brian Kenny's brother-in-law is going to help with that connection to sign with the Rockies.
For sure.
If you get Brian, I assume you'll get Chad too.
Yeah. All right. Now let's go kind of another softball layup.
Yep.
Spencer Bogad, Corey McCarthy, and Will Rath.
Yeah.
Two basically.
Food is in. Come on down. Welcome. Thank you.
Get it in the shop.
That's me over here. Thank you.
Thank you. Check these out. I just need some. He's got.
Wow.
Grant's
right
on it.
You.
I don't even need anything.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. No, I'm good.
We're good.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Food has arrived, ladies and gentlemen.
Go.
Quick service indeed, and we appreciate 1356 Public House. While you're getting prepped, get some food in your belly. I'll talk about the Twins. Obviously, Corey McCarthy, got to believe they're going to sign him back. There's no way you're going to let the MVP go. Chris Metter, a guy that relatively knows his guys are going to return.
Yeah.
They've given a chance to Will Rath over and over again. Will's probably going to sign with them unless somebody can pull Will away. But Will being their ace, they got to sign him back too. And Spencer stepped up as their number 2 last year. Mm-hmm. Spencer's the one that's the wild card, right?
I was going to say, he's a little bit of an unknown. Like I feel like he's really obviously partial to playing with Chris and this whole let's always win as many championships as possible thing, and you got to do that with Chris a lot of times. But
like LeBron, Dwayne, and Chris Bosh.
I also think that there's an aspect of Spencer where he might want to play with somebody else who's out there.
I think he does.
Looking at another team or on another team currently. So he's a little bit of a wild card. And if he were to leave, and even if they get, obviously signs Corey and Will back, that whole team looks different.
It does.
I mean, it definitely helps having Corey to basically backfill that, but you're losing 2 of the top 3 players.
Sure. And I mean, Spencer is, what? We're going to say, if you put it at a percentage, the what's your percentage that Spencer always talks about, I'm going to put it at like 80%, 85%, maybe even 90% that he signs with the Twins. But there is a part of me that thinks he has a lot to prove, right? He wants to win as much as he can with other people.
Yeah.
He has so many connections and relationships with other people in this league. I could see him just pulling a 180 and going somewhere else. You never know. But I do think he's going to be a Twin.
Okay.
You got to defend that title, right?
I guess. I mean, if you like winning and you it's, it doesn't get boring playing with the same people all the time. You could do that, but all right, let's talk about a couple people who also may be on the iffy board. Let's talk about Paul Castellano. I feel like he's probably going to stay with the A's. He's really close with those guys, but he's played with a lot of different teams over the years.
Yep.
Obviously winning championships with the Rays, being with the Royals.
Yep.
Being on that hybrid Braves team for a little bit for
Yep.
one season. He's a guy that knows a lot of people in the league. He's really close, grew up with a lot of you guys. I would say it's probably, 60-40, 65, 70% he's going to be an A. But
Yep.
I think if somebody were to go out there and say, hey, this is the team and you're the missing piece, like he might consider it, especially if he's as close as he is with some of these guys.
Which I'm surprised the A's haven't pulled the trigger and signed him now in restricted
Or
free
long
agency.
term. Why just-
And I'm surprised they haven't. A lot of teams haven't pulled the trigger on some of these restricted free agents, but Paul's one of those that has a lot of history in this league of winning.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of teams, especially John Callaway, John Light's neighbors with Paul Castellano.
Really?
So there could be that connection where he tries to sway, hey Paul, come on over, get the veterans to come on over and join. So it's going to be interesting. I'm surprised the A's haven't already done it.
Yeah.
So Paul Castellano could be an interesting play for somebody else.
And another player the A's have yet to sign is Rookie of the Year, Chris Warbeck.
Chris Warbeck is, I will tell you from a commissioner's standpoint, they are in talks.
Okay.
But I have heard through the grapevine that Chris Warbeck is turning into a hard to get to hold of person.
Oh, no.
Which could be a problem, just
Yeah.
signing in general. But he was there the whole season last time, and a lot of people, we have our top 20 players heading into season 20.
Yeah.
And already a lot of the lists have started to include Chris Warbeck pretty high on the list. So a lot of people are high on him, and if he gets to unrestricted free agency, he might get a few calls.
Yeah, for sure. And you got to hope that he doesn't have that sophomore slump that is pretty notorious.
It is notorious for sure. And,
But he's a big cornerstone, something to build on for the A's. Finding that guy and the season that he had, and he should be included, in my opinion, on the top 20 list.
Yeah.
By the way, if you haven't got yours in, Christmas Day, they are due.
They are due.
So
Very
send
soon.
them to Sam.
10 days.
Yep. If you want to have your opinion included on the final list.
Yes, and everybody's included this year. It's not weighted at all, so your opinion does matter, and it moves you up and down the list. Ed Loke probably ranked himself number one.
Probably.
And that's fine. It's his prerogative to do that.
Yeah.
So
It doesn't really help whenever he gets ranked 25th by everybody else. But let's talk about the Expos.
Okay.
Okay?
Interesting team this year.
Yeah.
Obviously, Brett already committing to going to unrestricted free agency.
Doesn't mean he won't go back.
Doesn't mean that. And he's actually still in talks. You never know what he might do. I know he really liked playing for the Expos and could try to help them get back to the playoffs after missing it again this past year.
How about Matthew Haymaker Germer? The guy is so clutch.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was a free agent.
He is a restricted free agent.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know. See?
He is not under contract right now if it expires.
Okay.
So, he was somebody who in their championship run was huge for them.
Well, sure.
During the playoffs.
Game 1, championship
Yeah,
run.
and has taken on a bigger and bigger and bigger role with the team. So it's a little surprising that Kevin, who hasn't re-signed him or given him a longer deal, makes you kind of wonder what Kevin's got up his sleeve, if he's thinking about a rebuild after the way their season ended last year.
You gotta believe, though. I mean, Germer's diehard Expo.
Yeah. I can't see him playing anywhere
and
else.
I don't see anybody else kind of taking a limb on him. And I will tell you, he might be one of those guys for the Expos that steps up and fills a hole in a need. Because if Brett doesn't re-sign with them, and John's already captain another team, they lost both their fielders.
Yeah.
Both of them are gone.
For sure.
And Germer was their backup when it came to playing right field when John wasn't.
Yeah.
And he was their backup. So
That's right.
My assumption would be, unless they sign somebody else, he's stepping into that left fielder's role, which is a lot of pressure on a young man who doesn't have a lot of experience there.
Yeah, that's true.
Great fielder in softball, great softball player.
Yeah.
I played with him before in the he's played outfield. So great fielder, but it's a tough position on that below
Left
field.
field is so much harder than it looks like. I played it for however many years for us. Probably led the league in errors every year. It is so hard.
It's
So
tough
left
position.
field is a whole. It's not just being athletic and everything. There's an aspect of having such quick reactions, being really smart in a short amount of time that makes a left fielder great.
Yep.
And honestly, like if you look at the successful teams, they have really good left fielders. So that is a big need for them. And it makes sense to me that you'd at least want to have Germer on the team as an option.
Yeah,
and
or
then
even right field if you assign somebody else.
Right. If you can get somebody else to maybe play, then you feel a lot better about your fielding that way. So, all right, let's move on to unrestricted free agents. These are guys that we know.
A lot of Brewers and Royals.
A lot of Brewers and
Obviously,
Royals.
all of them.
Yeah. Guys that we know are available for any team to sign come January 1st.
Yep.
We're obviously, like I said, we're not going to talk about some of the more obvious ones based on the rumor mills and what everybody assumes is going to happen, which will happen, even though it can't be said publicly, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Okay? So we'll skip some of those guys.
Okay.
And I won't put you on the spot.
Well, you can if you want.
I would love to. But I don't think I'll like the answer, so
I
will
will
stay away from it.
There's been 3 teams.
Three teams, okay.
Have been in
Well, let's
contact.
just start with you. Yeah. So this is the game, okay? And it's going to be tough for you to give a somewhat valid answer.
Uh-huh.
However, what we're going to do is we're each going to name a team that we think would be a good landing spot for that person.
Yeah.
Okay?
Even if it's not the team they're going to go to.
Even if it's not the team they're going to go to.
Yeah.
Okay? It could be the team you think they're going to go to. It could be a team that you think could really use their skills. However you want to put it. Just I want you to name a team, and we'll start with you since we were already talking about
Get
you.
it out of the way.
Yeah. So put your commissioner hat on. Here.
Yep. Oh, okay.
Okay. And name a team that could use your services, that you potentially could land on, and then I will counter and give you a different team.
I mean, I could give 4 or 5 teams. I'm pretty sure it's hard to give just one. There's one that's not on the list of 3 that's contacted me that I'm going to say.
Okay.
So 3 teams have contacted me, but this team hasn't. I'll give you your hat back as we go. And this team hasn't contacted me, but it's at this point I would consider pretty much anything, or I think anybody should consider anything just to hear them out. And that's the Marlins. I would. Those guys have been a great addition to our league. I've gotten to know them a little bit better. Haven't reached out to me, and I know they're full group.
Dummies.
But to have a veteran come into their league and get a veteran presence is, I think, what they're missing.
For sure.
Luke is a veteran of this league, but I think getting an older generation veteran is something that they could look and strive for in their future, and I think will put them on the map after getting 3 wins last year. So I'll put the Marlins in play. Will it happen? The likelihood is under 1% maybe, but I'm just surprised. I haven't heard from more teams.
Yeah. Well, and then I will do one of the obvious answers, the Astros. I've been trying to get Sam to be an Astro since I started this team.
Yeah. We played on the Cardinals together.
We did. I was a member of the Cardinals for 2 seasons.
Yes, he was. And then you took over a franchise.
And then, we started the Astros franchise, and he has been the unicorn I've been trying to get forever. And so I think he'd be a great addition to the Astros. And we'll move on.
All right.
So let's go with.
Oh, you got to think hard.
Oh yeah, I've got so many options here.
Food is great. Seasoned fries are
Let's
great.
go with a toughie.
Okay.
Brett Spencer. Probably one of the more sought after free agents this year.
Yep.
Ace.
Yeah, there's the ace. There's like 5 or 6 aces that are in this list right now that could change a team's dynamic. Brett is a guy that you could see if John Light left. Could he go to the Orioles?
Yeah.
Right? Could he go back to the Expos knowing that, hey, they're going to need some help?
Yeah. Can I have another beer?
Yeah, we're doing great though. Thank you. I'll take another one too. Thank you so much.
Do you need to know what they are?
No, I got it.
Oh.
Wow.
See, you don't even have to tell them.
Well, and Brett going back to the Expos is definitely a possibility. Do the Expos want him after he declared he was going to unrestricted? Maybe it's just a ploy to get more Parmesan goldfish. We don't know. But I could also see him going to the Rockies again. Obviously, Kyle Breida leaving is kind of like, it's kind of starting to turn people's wheels. Like, hey, like, is this the opening Brett needs to go back and get them out of the wild card? Because they've been in the wild card 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Like, to get them back into that prominence that they want and to keep their streak alive as the only SWL franchise to make the playoffs every single year of the franchise era. And losing Kyle Breida, they need to kind of fill that pitching role as well. Having Chad and Brett as your pitching duo would be good.
So you took mine. I was going to say the Rockies. You had mentioned the Expos. You had mentioned John's team as well.
Orioles, yeah.
So you kind of took all of the options on that
one. Oh, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to do one. I do multiple.
But to put me on the spot here, let's see. You picked the one I was going to mention, the Rockies. But let's just go ahead and talk about the White Sox. I mean, we don't know what kind of team John is building.
And I know John wants to have some veteran presence as well.
Yeah.
There's a rumor that he already has one of the 6 aces pretty much already in the bag.
Yeah.
So trying to find another pitcher might be a priority for him.
We both know that you need 2 in this league. So having one stud and one underperformer is not really going to cut it.
No.
So, looking at Brett as an option to bring onto your team, that would be a huge win. And then to get whoever the second mystery person is.
I'd be intrigued to see if Brett would go to someone, not necessarily in his age generation.
Yeah.
I think that, Brett's a pretty old school guy in this league, and I think he goes with kind of his own in a way. So, and he loves to drink, so he's going to find a drinking team to go with. So, yeah. Brett's got a lot of landing spots as well. I mean, we're already talking about a couple guys that have a lot of landing spots to go.
Yeah.
Do we kind of have an idea of where some of these guys? Yeah, we do, and we have. Everybody's got a front runner, but you never know.
Yeah. So let's go to Austin Steffies. You may know better than I do. I don't know if he's planning on making the trip again.
I will personally say I have no idea if they are coming again or not. I think that they might wait it out.
Okay.
Both Austin and Trent might wait it out to see if there is an interest in a market for them.
Yeah.
Austin had a tough year last year. I mean, he had an 0 for 14 streak on the Royals for himself and kind of lost out to Leon Cherry for that 4th spot as Tyreek Hill. Is that Tyreek Hill?
Yep.
Makes
You're
a
doing
catch
good.
there. And but where his prowess came last year for the Royals was his pitching.
Yeah.
Got more wins on the mound than Gus or Sam. So, he had more wins on the mound than either me or Gus. And so I think that is going to be something that he can really put in his back pocket and say, hey, I'm continuing to improve as a pitcher as well. Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. So I would put Austin in there as somebody that maybe could get a pitching look with some hitting, kind of like Josh Rogers' contract.
Yeah.
Josh Rogers' contract is a pitcher only, but it includes a little amendment for a certain amount of at-bats. Or like David Olderman contract. It includes a certain amount of game at-bats that can be played. So that's been happening in our league more and more. So it could happen for Austin as well.
So pick a team.
White Sox.
Okay.
I think John has a good relationship with both of them. I think some of the players that John is going to be signing, or my thought is that he's signing, have a good relationship with Austin and Trent. I think a good spot, a landing spot, could be for the White Sox for him as well.
How about the...
And then a pitching help. That's
How about... I'll go with the Expos.
Ooh.
Again, they need some more pitching depth depending on what happens with Brett. They've got Jimmy obviously locked down, but...
I would love to see Austin on the Expos.
Yeah. But, they could definitely use that. And if he were to come alive again at the plate like he did 2 years ago, that would be a big boost for them.
Yeah.
So... definitely a team a team that should consider it.
Yeah,
for sure.
I agree.
All right, let's go with Jeremy Warrell.
Oh, I love this one. I think there's so many spots for this guy. I think Jeremy. You know how we did that underrated players graphic a couple years ago? Jeremy's underrated. For the Brewers last year, he single-handedly, the Brewers only had, 3 wins last year? He single-handedly beat the Royals and caused the Royals to be a 500 team, and just shutting our bats down. And he had an amazing pitching performance, but he also can provide some pop in his bat, but he gets better and better as a pitcher every year. I think there is a bunch of teams that should be looking at him. My number one landing spot for him would hope would be the Expos.
Okay.
I think his pitching arm fits well as a great number 2 for Jimmy, and I think his mouth fits well on that team as well, and helps them continue in that franchise of the year path.
Plus, we know how much you can rile Brett up, as evidence from
Rob
past.
Walters.
Yeah, Rob Walters. So if you get Jeremy on the Expos and then he's talking that smack,
If Brett's not on the Expos
if
again,
he's not,
oh,
how
yeah.
much fun would that game be?
That would be a fun game to
Yeah.
watch for sure.
I think the easy answer on this one would be
Your own
the
team.
A's.
Or your own team,
yeah,
too.
or the Astros. Yeah, that's probably an easier answer, just because that's where he's been.
Uh-huh.
Right? He obviously had the 1 year with the Brewers, with an opportunity to play a little bit more.
Yep.
Did great. And
Did
so
very
yeah,
well.
for sure. I think the Astros would be one team that would be at the top of that board of
Yep.
that might land him. So, all right, let's go with Derek Cornell.
This one's a tough one. Derek and Kyle are both tough for me. Both
Yeah.
the Cornell brothers. I don't know if Kyle's on your list. Maybe we can
He is.
duo.
Let's
Duo this one. I don't know if Derek wants to deviate from like the shadow of Kyle, or if they want to come in as a package deal. Like, I don't know what they want to do. But Derek is obviously lefty swing, and he had pitched a little bit for the Brewers last year. I think he wants to pitch more.
Okay.
But obviously, the number one thing you could say is he's going to be a White Sox because he's good friends with John Callaway.
Mm-hmm.
They played on the same team growing up together in baseball, so you got to believe if John Callaway's starting a team, he's going to pull in some of his own age fellas.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say he's going to be at a landing spot of the White Sox, but a lot of teams could use him too. Maybe he sticks along with Peter. Maybe Peter has with John Light. Maybe he has Brewers 2.0.
Yeah, so that was going to be my answer, was to stay with Peter, even if Kyle doesn't.
So you think he's one of the 2 new teams possibly?
I do. I think it'll be one of the 2 new teams. I just think the connections that he has, and obviously building a team from scratch, like, you could use his skill set in a manner a bunch of different ways. So
yeah.
So we've talked about Kyle, and then we talked about Kyle. Let's talk about Kyle.
Kyle obviously is a great pitcher in his own right. Last year had the injury, Achilles, I believe, or calf injury last year. And game 1, it was the worst timing for the Brewers possible.
Yeah.
When their roster is already a little bit less than it was when they went to the championship the year prior. And their window was closing fast, especially when Kyle got hurt. Kyle gets hurt, their whole season pretty much goes out the window. He barely played any games. He had like 16, 17 at-bats last year.
Yeah, he tried to fight through it for sure.
I know, but I hope that he's recovered, and maybe a team gives him a shot on it. I could see somebody like the John Callaway and the White Sox go. I could see the John Light team with that connection go after Kyle. I could, but my pick is going to be the Expos.
Okay.
I keep putting people on the Expos, but I also think with Brett gone, they need that pitching help.
Yeah,
and
I
think
they haven't signed half their team, so
I know, but they would pull right back into it, and maybe Kyle would, kind of enjoy. I think would have a little fun on the Expos as well too.
Maybe a little less pressure too.
Yeah. So, and he can still go golfing if he wants on Saturday.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to pull that in there.
He might play. He might even play with Rob or something.
Who knows?
Rob was always golfing. I think the easy answer here with Kyle would be wherever Peter goes. Which we could get into Peter, but we don't have to.
Answer.
Yeah. So, wherever Peter ends up landing, I think that relationship is probably where that would go.
Yeah.
I had tried signing Kyle a couple years back.
Astros were on my list too for him, and if he wants a shot at trying something new, John Callaway's kind of have to be replaced on your team.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a big loss for us, especially after the season John had. So definitely something to consider for myself as a manager. So, but I still think that in the end he would end up wherever Peter is. So, Ty Butler. Ty Butler is a very interesting one because came into the league because of the relationship with Gus.
Yep.
Gus is no longer has a team with you. Been a lifelong Royal.
Mm-hmm.
That team doesn't exist anymore. So does he follow Gus where Gus goes? Does he venture out? Does he just not play?
I don't know. I could very well see this being the end of Ty Butler's career. unless
That would be sad.
It would be sad. He hasn't won a championship. He's been so close so many years. He was a part of he's been a part of both of the 10-0 regular season teams in SWBL history.
Rookie of the year.
Yep,
his first year.
One of the best rookies we've ever seen in this league. One of the probably top 5 left fielders maybe in history of our league. He's always been kind of in Chris's shadow a few times, had a few years where he's kind of pulled through, and all of a sudden BK came rushing in, and he's been kind of in their shadow as they've gone back and forth with the award. But he's always been right there. And I really hope this isn't the end for Ty. I could see him only playing for teams, though, that he has connections with. He's not going to go out on a limb. Knowing Ty, he's not going to go to the Expos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can already cross them off the list.
He's,
no offense, he's not going to
not
play for the
gonna
Astros.
play for me.
No, he's not going to play for teams that he doesn't have a strong connection with or wants to travel to St. Louis and leave his family to come for. So there's very few limited teams. Yankees would be an option. I mean, can you imagine that Yankee squad with also Ty, too? Like, where are they going to play people? That's the hard part, too. So who knows what's going to happen. But I really hope Ty does come back, and I've heard some rumors of different teams as well. But I really hope he does play and makes a new connection and puts a different color on.
Yeah. Obviously, Ty way better than I do. Even though he and I were rookies the same year.
Yeah.
So we've literally been in the league the same amount of years. But, the relationships that he's built over time, I don't know which ones are stronger, which ones are not there. He gets along with everybody.
He does.
But he has, obviously, friendships that are tighter. So, stinking Chiefs. I would say probably one of the new teams, too. Again, this is an easy answer right now, and I didn't realize it when I thought about this segment, but not knowing how they're wanting to structure their team and what players they're going to land, the easy answer is for one of the Johns to sign them.
True. Because there's so many spots open.
Yeah, maybe John Light is a stronger candidate because you have John Callaway has himself to play left field. And John Callaway is an underrated left fielder.
Can you imagine, though, like John playing right and Ty playing left?
That would be a heck of a defense for sure. So, yeah, that would be probably one of my guesses. So, all right, let's do one more.
All right.
And we're going to go with an ex-Brewer as well, Jimmy Stout.
Jimmy Stout. Another one that you could see go into a lot of teams.
A lot of relationships.
Oh, man. And probably one of the best overall human beings in the SWBL. I had some illness stuff he was going through that I kind of held him back from the SWBL for so long, but his strength has been growing. He's been getting, he's chomping at the bit to get more playing time. There are easy answers and there are interesting answers. Some of the easier answers would be go wherever his brother-in-law goes with Peter.
Which one?
I mean, true. I mean, it's Peter, obviously, being married to his sister. So that would be only Peter, right?
No, yeah, you're right.
Okay.
I don't know why I thought about John.
That's all right. But going wherever Peter goes.
Really, I should have brought up Andrew Light, but.
Going wherever Peter goes, I think is kind of an option there. But also, I know he has a strong relationship with a lot of your players and you. And I know that the Astros are definitely a high landing spot for him. I know that there are some other teams like the Expos that are very interested in him.
Okay.
So I can see him going to a lot of places. And he can add add nice pitching depth to your team and can give you some key at-bats, and he's had some great moments for the Brewers. So Jimmy Stout definitely deserves a landing spot in this league. He's a very important member of this league, and I know he'll find a spot.
For sure. All right, so that's going to wrap up kind of the game. Obviously, we didn't talk about every free agent.
No.
As I said, there are some that are obvious. Yeah, if you want a full list of all the free agents out there, you can go to the website and see who's available. And that, again, could change between now and January 1st, depending on how restricted free agency ends up kind of playing out. So
we didn't even talk about some of the rookies last year that got minimal playing time.
Yeah.
Like Leon Cherry had half a season. He's definitely interested in coming back. Jordan Smith played for the A's, played a great year in MOWIF and UWIF. He's probably going to find a landing spot and should. There's so many players on our list that if they don't find a spot, it's going to confuse me because some of these teams need to reach out. Don't get a rookie that's like one of your friends from way back then. There's guys right now that are willing to help you win right now.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens in the draft. With the amount of players who are out there and available, like how many actual rookies need to be drafted this year?
I think there will be 2.
2.
I think we will have 2 rookies.
Who's the Twins guy?
Who's the Twins guy? Oh, Mike Durstein?
Yeah.
The guy they always draft? Okay, 3.
Yeah.
The Twins will probably draft Mike Durstein, and who knows if Mike ever shows up, but,
You know, I worked with his younger brother.
Really?
He worked with me at Enterprise. I was his boss.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, so that's going to kind of wrap up a lot of the off-season and kind of what's happening now. What I want to get into are some topics that we haven't discussed or you were, unaware I was going to ask you.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on.
Okay? So I'm going to try to think of a more clever name for this segment of the podcast as we move forward.
Like Spencer's, what's your sentence? I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I guess. So, yeah, something clever, unlike that.
Oh.
So, but for now, we're just going to call it the Secret Topics segment, okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and whatever comes to mind, I want you to answer. If you need a minute, I'll go ahead and answer the question first to give you some time to think.
All right. Okay.
So what is your fondest memory from the past 19 seasons of the SWBL?
Wow. I probably have way too many that I could think about in my head.
That's why I said fondest.
Fondest.
Or if you just have one that you really that sticks out in your mind, that'll work too.
No, I know exactly what I'm going to say, and it actually happened just last season. But like I said, there have been so many different moments in this league that have been so important to me and so special. And this game has kept me connected to some of my high school friends, some of college friends, people that I would probably not have been connected to, and I hate to say, even like you, like wiffle ball connects me to so many other people and lets me still enjoy other people that I've met along the way in my life, and giving me a chance to catch up with you, learn about your lives, and continue to know your lives.
Yeah,
and that's
be in our lives.
And that's why I love this game, and I love providing like Scott said in that interview, a vehicle for all these players to come together and just be as a big family.
Yeah.
But my personal family, seeing my son last year interested, walking around, pointing, like being aware of what's going on, I think it was a huge memory for me. And I know it just happened, and I could go back, you could dive into like the first time we built the field, or thinking about that time, that one time me, Kevin, and Andrew were building the field or something like that way back when. But the moment that I had with my son kind of showed that, like it's almost that Lion King moment, like everything the light touches is your kingdom, like it was that moment with him. And it was even on KSDK, like that moment with me and him looking over the game, and it's just the back of me like going through this. It's a cool moment, and I'm excited to see where this league goes with all of our kids coming older, and also where those kids will take this league in the future when we're all old gray and just yelling at them as managers.
For sure. Yeah, or we're going to have a separate field.
Just for
with with our canes.
Down low, really
just
short
using
field.
the wiffle ball bat to run the bases, and then the actual wiffle ball for our kids as well.
Yes. Yeah.
For sure. All right.
Do you have one? Or is this just for me?
It's mostly for you as the now pseudo guest of this podcast, but I don't have I've had a lot of great being elected to an all-star, even though it was the fan vote, like that almost means a lot more to me because it was my peers that voted me in. That was a really cool moment because it was completely unexpected. But
I mean, winning your division,
division was pretty awesome.
That.
Pretty awesome. That was a big moment. I was really proud of our guys. It was a special moment to take that photo with my arm around all those guys. So that would be probably at the top of the list. I mean, I could get into the sentimental aspects of what this league has done for my life, especially being like that one article I wrote, an outsider. You know, I really knew you, and I kind of knew your brother. And that was it. And like the friendships and the bonds and the relationships that I've developed are
they explode just in the couple of years that you spend here.
Yeah. So, but I would say, probably winning the division last year was the peak so far. But I'm looking forward to.
Good question.
Many more.
I would love
years.
to know like other people's answers for that. Even do like a short video about all those things. That'd be really cool to see.
I'll try to keep that one in mind. Maybe for future.
There you go.
Secret topics, whatever it's going to be called.
Not
segment.
secret anymore.
Yeah. So, which franchise has the most approved going into season 20?
Ooh. Wow. There's so many. I mean, the easy answer could be the two new teams. They have so much to prove, so much to build.
Yeah, but they also have a blank slate and no aspirate, like nothing to kind of go off of.
But both those captains do not want to fall on their faces. Like, just knowing them and knowing what their philosophy, they've talked to me about, they don't want to fall flat on their faces. They want to come out of the gate swinging. Twins don't have anything to prove. I mean, they've already done it so many times, so you kind of eliminate them from the list. Yankees kind of in the same boat, but with a changeover could have something. But I think you got to go with two teams. I got two teams that keep on my mind. Your team's one of them. Mm-hmm. I think Astros have a lot to prove coming off of a playoff, a division victory, and you guys are a tier 1 team this year, which is huge and a huge advantage for you to only play the Yankees and the Twins once each, especially with some of the free agents we know are going to be going to some of these teams. Yeah. So with you guys, you have a lot to prove because you are in that position, but it's as a manager and as your team, who can you recruit to come over to be a part of something special that you would continue to prove? And the other one is the Expos, obviously with Brett kind of going to unrestricted free agency. If they lose him, they could very well all of a sudden go back exactly to where they were, where they were 0-10, 1-9 for 3 years in a row. Yeah. So I think they have a lot to prove to say, hey, even without Brett, we can still be competitive, and they can prove that, because a lot of people are saying if Brett wasn't on that team, they don't have a chance at winning. And last year, even with Brett, they both regressed. They didn't make playoffs, so they have a lot to prove going back to it. So. Yeah,
I would, my answer when I was thinking about that question was honestly like looking in the mirror. Like I thought it was myself because if you think about the teams that up till now have been perennial playoff teams, right? It's been those 5, and really it's been the A's made it one year and made that run to the championship, and then the Expos made that the first time they made it, then they won the championship, and then
you guys,
we did it, but the next year they fall off. Mm-hmm. They go away. They stop being competitive again. And I think that to try to change some of the stigma around those like lower end teams and to show other teams that, hey, it doesn't have to be a one-time thing. You can change the outlook on your franchise going forward too.
You mentioned the A's. That's a huge one too. I mean, think about it. Like the A's, they were 1 win away from winning and 7 runs away. Like think about that. They almost beat the Royals out. If they would have scored 7 more runs in any game throughout the season, they would have been in the playoffs over the Royals.
Yeah, right.
And they could have won any game, one of their 5, the same record as the Royals, but they have a lot to prove as well, obviously, especially if they sign Chris Forbeck, the Rookie of the Year, back. They have Mike Carl coming back as well, who's still on their roster. Yeah. So they got kind of their full-strength lineup coming back if they get everybody that they want signed. Yeah. So the A's are another one that have a lot to prove.
Yeah. So, third question. Mm-hmm. Which player has the biggest bounce back in season 20?
Oh, good one.
I'll take one more.
I'm good, thank you. Wow. Bounce back player of the year.
Not necessarily comeback, right?
No, just who's going to bounce back. Yeah, I get you.
Who maybe had a down season and
I'm going to go with one of your players. I'm going to go with Cole Layton.
Okay.
Cole had obviously 1 Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
Last year had his sophomore slump.
Yep.
And slumped hard.
Yeah.
Hate to say it, Cole, but slumped hard.
Yeah.
Had a great year in Mowith. Got a lot more looks. Got a lot more swings throughout the year after SWBL.
Wasn't he the hitter of the year or something like that?
He was the Silver Slugger. Yeah. Yep. Silver Slugger for the Mowith League, the Fast Pitch League. And I think he has something to prove to say, this isn't just I'm not a big barrel bat hitter. I can do yellow too.
Or just a fast pitch hitter too. Yeah.
And because he went to Hometown Cup also, which is yellow bat, and I think struggled from what his team told me, from what Cam and Josh they tell me. Like Cole was one of our struggle players on their team during the hometown cup, slow pitch, yellow bat.
Yeah.
So I think Cole has a lot to prove too, and I think he will. I think he'll get that better prowess. I think he'll get more chances to hopefully prove himself and be an impact player for your team and step up after John Callaway goes down.
Yeah.
He has every opportunity to do that. So I think Cole's going to have a bounce back year for me.
Okay. Cool.
Do you have one?
It's hard for me to think about. I've got to get a better, podcast host hat on because it's easy for me to start thinking about my guys and everything. So Keaton comes to mind. Keaton struggled, but
end of the year started getting hot. A little bit.
He did. Yeah, we worked through it. I was trying to focus on getting him at bats when I could, but if he was struggling, maybe not put him in a situation that was too overwhelming. But to get away from my team, I might go with Brett, to be honest.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think...
only one win on the mound last year?
Right.
Or zero. Maybe he was 0-3.
I'd have to look at it.
He was 0-3.
Yeah, so bounce back on the mound, which we know he's capable of doing.
Oh, yeah.
And then depending on where he ends up in the lineup, that could change a lot. I think from a mentality standpoint too. He may stay in that one hole or that two hole like he has been traditionally, but if he gets on a team with a bunch of really solid hitters and can get,
3 or 4,
and then just play a slightly different role in that aspect, that might do wonders for him too. So who knows what's going to happen, but he's somebody who I would keep an eye on, especially on the mound.
I have one more to add, and it's an interesting one. It's Steve Hayes. And I say bounce back in a different way.
Okay.
Because I think he has to not just bounce back, but I think he has to continue to improve from his amazing year last year. I mean, he's on the national teams list for hitters. Oh, sorry, Chargers scored.
Yeah.
Brian's a little upset right now. Not about you, Steve, but about the Chargers score. But I think Steve has to kind of have another bounce back year to continue the prowess that the A's really want to push to a playoff spot. So that's kind of another interesting roundabout way of answering the question, but Steve Hayes is another one for me.
Okay, cool. All right, we're almost done.
Okay.
Who is the most, we kind of actually talked about this a little bit, but who's the most underappreciated player in the SWBL?
Oh.
You had mentioned Jeremy earlier being kind
that was
of
the first
under
one
the
came to mind. I
radar.
was just trying to see if there was somebody else I could bring up, because Jeremy is a good answer and an obvious answer too. Underappreciated.
That's how I wrote it. Yeah, or you could say underrated or however you want.
Do you have one while I think about it?
I do. I think it's John Callaway.
Oh,
I think John Callaway, the fact that he has been in the top 5 in certain batting categories, top 10 in others for years, for his whole career. He's always been a top 3 or 4 fielder in left field. He's won championships. He's been a perennial playoff player. Obviously did wonders for my team.
Yeah.
I just feel like he is a very underrated player. I feel like people really don't appreciate what he does. And he comes in and he does his thing and he doesn't talk a lot and he just performs. And, I thought that last year when I signed him that, this was one of the best moves I had made just because I knew what he actually would bring to the table without all the fanfare that typically comes along with a free agent signing him.
That's a good one. As you've been talking, I've been kind of thinking about some other players too, and some of them are going to be maybe shocks to people as they go, but I'm going to go with some Twins and Yankees players.
Okay.
I think from the Yankees perspective, I think he gets overshadowed a little bit by his brother, and that's Kevin Polley.
Yeah.
I think he is an underrated player. I think he can change the game with his bat. He's not a pitcher by any means, but he has proved to be a very good right fielder for the Yankees. And I think that his fielding, just that tall body, he will rob at the bottom of the hill home runs.
They ought to be the Red Sox because it's like hitting over the Green Monster.
It is.
With the 2 Polleys in the outfield, they're so tall.
So I'm going to put Kevin up there as an underrated player just because you're in the shadow of these pinstripes, the Yankees. On the Twins side, you could name 3 players on the Twins that are underrated. And because Bogat and Metter just own the headlines.
Yeah.
Corey McCarthy, despite winning an MVP, might not even be in the top 5 or 10 of the top 5 players.
That doesn't make sense to me.
I know.
But yeah,
but
you're right.
Not.
But you're right.
Because
They are
just
not talked
won't
about.
see it.
Yeah.
And yes, he hit the most home runs, by a few, and he hit the most
Yeah.
RBIs by a few. But I just feel like he's still this underrated player that still has something to prove.
Yeah.
You could say the same thing. Edlow's been around for so long. He's been nominated for the Hall of Fame. He's had All-Stars, championships, all these things. But the Twins go as Edlow goes almost, and he doesn't get the headlines as much as he wants them.
Yeah, right.
Doesn't get the headlines as much, but and then the other player is Will Rath, and Will Rath obviously doesn't get as many at bats for them. But when he comes into to play in a hitting role, he usually makes some type of impact.
Yeah.
And I think that his pitching is downplayed a lot because he's overshadowed by a lot of big guns. Hasn't won a Cy Wiffle yet.
Yeah, but he's so good. He's so tough.
And so close.
He's like
the best lefty we've ever seen.
He's so good, and he's a lefty, which not a lot of people have in an ace like that. And
but I think he's still underrated. Just hasn't won the Cy Wiffle, and there's so many big dogs out there.
Yeah, and I know we said one player, but you had said something about Will that reminded me of Grant Boyd. I also think similarly with Grant, he gets overshadowed by BK and Brett, and even Breida at times on the mound. Blake. Sorry, I did say Brett. Blake and BK and even Breida, but like Grant has had some really big moments for that team, and he kind of in a similar way, like if he's on fire, then they are rocking. And not necessarily if he's struggling, are they struggling, but he has been a really big role player for them.
He is, and I think that Grant is also a great person to have on your team, and there's something about having a lefty on your team that changes a lineup. And for that Rockies team,
I thought about it with John and everything.
And that Rockies team, I think they love having Grant from the left side. Chris Metter on their team, and having Will and Chris, two lefties on their team for the Twins. But I think for some reason it just makes the team a little bit better. Think about the Royals when we had Tyler Flackney on 10-0. I just feel like changing the defensive switches just helps out. So I don't know. But yeah, Grant's another good one that's underrated, and he was on that underrated, back in 2018, 2019 when that article came out, and still is underrated. But yeah, a lot of underrated guys in this league, and you always hope that, like Corey getting the MVP, they kind of burst through, and break through those big dogs, those names that are always there, and win some of those major awards. And I hope Will is one of those coming out for Cy Wiffle in the future.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we got 2 left, and they're both going to be based around the holidays, because Christmas is in 10 days, 9 days. 9 days. All right. So, what is your favorite Christmas song?
My favorite Christmas song is The Christmas Song.
Oh, that's a great one.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Many people don't know that's the actual name of the song, but it's called The Christmas Song.
The Christmas Song.
I do love that song. Something nostalgic about just like sitting by the fire and listening to the Christmas song. So that's always been my go-to.
Do you have a favorite version of it? Because obviously everybody's covered it.
No. An overall album, like obviously recently my favorite artist of all time, Ben Rector, came out with a Christmas album, and he's done a version before, and it's great. You could go with anybody. To me, it's just about the song, and I love the song. I've always wanted to make, maybe you being a fellow singer, I've always thought that we could make a Christmas album, like me and you, like just a solo album, just to share with our families, But that would definitely be one of the songs.
Go!
Kelsey! There's flag. It's flag. Don't get too excited, okay? There's a flag on the play.
Sorry.
But I could see a Christmas song being top of the list for me there. What about you? Favorite Christmas song? We Wish You a Merry Chiefsmas?
Nah, that's a good one. I love the Christmas song. It's probably my favorite traditional song. Mm-hmm. Well, that's not even traditional, because really you'd be thinking about a hymn in traditional, but I've been really into This Christmas. You know that one?
And this Christmas
will be. Yeah, that one. I don't know why, but that is a jam, and it kind of, I feel like it doesn't get enough play. To be honest, I'm sick of hearing Mariah Carey. I'd rather hear that.
You want to hear one of my most underrated, like people should go listen to Christmas song?
What?
It's from the band Hanson.
Yeah?
Merry Christmas Baby. From the Jack Frost soundtrack, it's amazing. Merry Christmas Baby, Merry Christmas. Christmas, baby. It's a jam. Like, it gets you bopping. So, Merry Christmas, Baby from Hanson. Go check it out.
Okay, I will. All right, and then last question, also based around Christmas.
Okay.
If you could gift the league with anything for Christmas, what would it be?
So I think this question, or like if you won the lottery, people have asked that before.
We've kind of done that.
Give?
Yeah.
I mean, the easy answer would be to keep rain away. All those
things in your control.
Okay. I think if you could gift anything to the league, like, is this like no amount of money doesn't matter, or like right now, just like something me personally I could gift to the league?
No money. Money doesn't matter.
I think what I would gift to the league would be to expand the wiffle grounds a little bit more conducive to, I guess, more people being in attendance.
Okay.
Whether that is players, whether that is fans, whether that is touchdown Chiefs, congratulations.
Yeah. Still in this thing.
Whether that is flattening the field a little more and making the field slightly bigger, or instead of the hill being there, just everything being flat around, providing them with more seating places around, clearing more trees so that it's just more of an expansive...
Every lefty would love you.
more of an expansive experience for the grounds, because we're limited. Obviously, we only have my parents live on an acre, but we only have a certain amount of space that we can go to expand field grounds. So I think my gift would be to do that. There's a neighbor that we share the first base line. That right behind the scores deck. We share those woods. With them. And the joke is always, my dad told that guy, before you sell this house or put it on the market, ask me first, and I might give you your asking price, and have me or Gus move in there.
Let's go.
Clear those, that in the field.
Yeah.
And you could expand. You could do something.
Goodness.
You could do a nice hitting area, bullpen area, something over there. Nice. So clearing all of that would be an amazing one. So
tie game.
Sorry. There you go. We're gonna be here.
Yeah. So my answer is a little less big, I guess, but it would be lights, like an actual ball field lights around the entire perimeter. And I just feel like it would take a lot of pressure off of you and the front office and rain delays. We wouldn't be obviously we'd be trying to still get as many games in as we could during the day, but we wouldn't stress as much about time. With that, knowing we would be able to play under the lights.
And obviously the skills competition all-star game, you could do a little more with that too. And
when we get back to that.
The dirt yard in Circle City Wiffle Ball in Indianapolis, where the NCAA tournament was hosted this past year, I have pictures of their lights, and they made them just out of the floodlights that are there, and they just have these 2x4s that run a skinny light post, and it's in rungs that they can literally climb up there, change it, things
That's
to
cool.
turn on, and it's super easy to build and make.
Is that the field with the huge bar top thing in the back, around the outfield?
Yeah, they have the
all
decks,
a wood
party
fence.
decks, It's the best field in the country by bar none. But it's a great one. We're doing great. Thank you.
Thank you.
But that would be, lights would be super fun to do. We've had floodlights in the past that we just kind of set up, but they don't do it justice for the Blur, for sure. And the Blur winning Field of the Year a couple years ago for National Wiffle. National Wiffle only recognizes the Field of the Year once in their history, so the Blur was going to get recognized whether or not soon. But that's always one thing that I thought would be added that would be fun, would be lights too, just to give more time, like you said. So,
cool,
awesome.
Well, so that is it. That's everything I had prepared. Any final thoughts going into season 20, Sam?
No, I appreciate you for taking over. I'm excited to see where the podcasts go. And, we're really excited to get season 20 underway. We have winter meeting here at 1356 Public House on January 2nd. Anybody is welcome to join us. I do need numbers from captains, letting me know how many of their players will be in attendance to see if we need the private event space that we are in, or if we can just fill something somewhere in the restaurant as well, depending on the day. But it'll be 11 o'clock on January 2nd. Come join us for winter meeting. A lot of different rule changes possibly. We haven't had specific rule changes, but we have 3 rule changes that we'll be talking about. And also, we're doing season 20 up big. So we're going to do some things with some different team fees, things like that we're not raising them by any means too much, but we want to see what people are interested in getting from us as a league entity to celebrate this anniversary season, because this is a big deal. Not many leagues around the country can say this, and we are the only one currently in National Wiffle that is season 20. It's cool.
It's awesome.
It's cool.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I will be working on the next podcast in a couple weeks, probably right after the holidays.
Yeah.
Again, as Sam had said, if you're interested in being on a podcast or you have an idea for a topic, text me, call me, and we'll get something on the schedule for sure. But I think coming up, we're gonna start having some team previews.
Nice.
As free agency kind of plays out, we'll have some captain interviews as we get closer to season. And we might even bring some other things back, like Origins or something like that we talked about. So
it'd be fun to do, like, National Signing Day was yesterday. You should get a free
agent.
That's
true.
They should get one of them just to be on. Pick the hat if they can or something. Yeah.
We'll just stick the logo, tape it on.
I have like 20 of the 30 Major League Baseball hats.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I could just get the flags from you, too.
Oh, yeah, or the flags.
Yeah,
we don't have flags for the two new teams, but,
Well, we'll just draw it on a paper and whatever, yeah. So, anyway, stay tuned. I will have another podcast coming to you sometime right after New Year's. Anyway, Merry Christmas, be safe, Happy New Year, and
thank you to 1356 Public House again for hosting us today.
Absolutely.
Hosting our winter meeting, all the podcasts coming up, captain's meeting, and our Friday night festivities. Opening day brought to you by 1356 Public House and our presenting sponsor for season 20. And we're so excited to announce and roll out the rest of our sponsors as we head into 2022 as well.
Awesome.
See ya.
Let's go.